Why am I still thinking about maybe the idea of hypothetically 10 cents and the path towards that during maybe a fully fledged type of altcoin season when it comes to Turbo? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though clearly Turbo is not doing good whatsoever, along with a bunch of other altcoins, a pretty big pullback, but still despite that, why am I still thinking about it? It's because I think Turbo has already built a pretty good reputation in terms of its popularity and in terms of its presence. And we've kind of seen, usually when the altcoin space is doing pretty okay, Turbo seems to somewhat go along with the ride. Kind of the last time I saw Turbo kind of in this price range, you know, the last time I saw that, it had a pretty good recovery. Now there's a pullback again, but I'm just saying, I would just be very surprised if Turbo, something this kind of popular, I would say, right? It's not the most popular, but it's pretty good, in terms of the popularity in kind of the grand scheme of things. Even still, despite that, I would be so surprised if something like this could ever reach below $100 million in market cap ever again. Just because, even though, again, I know that the current market cap is around 165 million, sure, it could go lower, but if it went below 100 million, I would be so surprised. Because, again, Turbo has a pretty good amount of holders. It's pretty popular, it's listed in some pretty good places. I just don't know if it could ever go below 100 million again. This is just my perspective. Now, who knows, right? Because I cannot control the market. I cannot control Turbo in any way. But I would just be surprised if it ever did that, considering how popular it is. Again, sure, things could always go lower. However, if I take a look at the idea of 10 cents, people like to say, okay, why are you still thinking about that? It is around a 40x from here. Now, to me, if my kind of perception, right, is the dollar cost average, if that's kind of my intention, why would I be complaining if the price is temporarily having a pullback? Now, some people may be thinking, okay, who cares about that? Well, again, if I can dollar cost average and actually bring my average cost down, I don't know why I'd complain about that. Now, again, I don't want the price to be low forever, right? Why would I want that? But then, for the meantime, it's not something I would necessarily be too concerned about because I have no need to exit from Turbo right now, so you know what? I'm just still dollar cost averaging anyways. And my mentality is just keeping it consistent just by, just dollar cost averaging and not really being concerned about what happens in the short to medium term. Because I think that when it comes to Turbo, it's already kind of built somewhat a reputation in terms of being a meme coin that is created by AI. And it's something that I often think about when I think about that specific niche, I would say. There is a bunch of meme coins, totally aware of that, but when I specifically think about a meme coin that's created by AI, I usually think about Turbo just because of its popularity and kind of having that sort of, presence, especially in the beginning, where there wasn't really, much of this talk about, hey, a meme coin created by AI. It's not to say that Turbo has these, good AI capabilities or something like that, because it doesn't, right? But then, in my perspective, when it comes to the space of a meme coin, it's all about being unique and being interesting. It's not necessarily this sort of competition as to which one has the best use case. This is just my perspective. And not to say that there aren't some, meme coins out there with a pretty okay use case. I'm not saying that, but then generally speaking, right, when I think about a meme coin, I'm not thinking about, oh, what are the fundamentals like in terms of the use case? I'm more so thinking about the fundamentals in terms of the unique factor, in terms of the kind of cool, factor again, right? That's what I'm thinking about. And I think Turbo does tick that box for me. So when sometimes people like to tell me, oh, Turbo doesn't have a good use case, well, again, I'm not expecting that when it comes to it. Now, I don't only just want to hold meme coins, by the way, but then it's just something I want to have nonetheless as part of my portfolio, even though I'm not telling it to do anything. However, when I take a look at the idea of 10 cents, again, around a 40x from here, market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be around 7 billion. And to me, still, that just doesn't seem that outlandish, even though for me, sometimes it's like, whoa, around a $7 billion market cap. Again, market cap is below 200 million currently. What is this all about? Even though I'm totally aware of the current situation of Turbo, the way you take a look at it is that, again, nonetheless, a $7 billion market cap is not even 10% of what Dogecoin reached in terms of market cap at one point back in 2021. Dogecoin back then, right? We're talking about years ago, reached a market cap of over 80 billion. Now, that was at one point. But then, this just doesn't seem too outlandish to me, maybe. However, even besides that as well, if someone says, oh, are you preferring Turbo, Shiba Inu, or Dogecoin? Even though I can't speak on anyone's behalf, and even though I'm not telling them to do anything, I would have to say Turbo for me in that case, because if I take a look at, for instance, let's say Shiba Inu or Dogecoin, are they doing like even a 20x in the next 5 months? If there is, let's say, an altcoin season? I don't know about that. Just to me, right, their market cap is very massive. Turbo going to 5 cents is around a 20x. 10 cents is around a 40x. I don't know if Shiba Inu or Dogecoin could do that. Again, this is just my perspective in the next 5 months, let's say. So I'm not necessarily saying that this is going to be more popular than Shiba Inu and Dogecoin. I'm not saying that because I don't think it's ever going to be. But then just because the market cap is way lower, it doesn't necessarily need like a $20 or $30 billion market cap to make any sort of significant move, right? Again, just around a $7 billion market cap is around a 40x from here. Now, me being a fan of a project, it doesn't mean it's going to do good, right? It's just me being a fan of a project. But then to me, I just want to stay patient because I made it quite far when it comes to Turbo. I've been through that roller coaster when it had that pretty good rally and then a pullback and then, pretty okay recovery and then a pullback again right now, like what we're seeing. I've already kind of been through that, but I knew that getting into it. Like, I know that it's just not going to be smooth sailing. So I'm staying patient. I'm just still waiting because whenever an altcoin season, if it ever even wants to happen during the cycle, does begin, that is completely out of my control. But what is within my control? That's myself. So I'm just going to, still dollar cost average hold and I just wait. And keep in mind, no matter what I read up about this project, no matter what someone told me, it is clearly just my own decision, right? Whether or not I want to believe in it. Like, I could easily not believe in it, but then I do. So then when it comes to projects, there's a bunch out there, but then I believe in, quite a okay amount, right? But I don't believe in every single project. And again, for the projects that I do believe in, it's clearly just my own decision. And again, Turbo is one of the projects I do want to believe in. And personally, I get it. Things maybe could not work out when it comes to Turbo, but then I just want to stay patient just because I like the kind of vibe overall. I like the amount of holders. I like the exposure. So I'm just staying patient. Again, to me, I just more so have this long-term mindset. In the short to medium term, maybe things don't do good. But who knows, right? Maybe a month later, 2 months or 3 months later. Only time will tell. But I think sometimes the situation can maybe be different. So that's why I'm staying patient. And ultimately, when it comes to this project, I'm still a fan and I'm just waiting, and that's pretty much about it. But I haven't given up. But this is just a way to take a look at it. And I want to say thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd also greatly appreciate that. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.